SACS is one of the biggest manufacturers of boats and rubber dinghies in the world, but the term dinghy might be an understatement to describe what they build. In effect, what they're really building would be better described as inflatable yachts, sometimes measuring almost 20 metres in length. And of course, their range is extensive and chock full of different types of models, with varying lengths and sizes, such as the Strider 10, of 10 metres. The enormous experience of the shipyard goes back decades and has been fully enriched within the last few years from their expertise in construction of luxury boats. That then was transferred to some of their less luxurious models that remain either very elegant or very sporty. From building these grand models, SACS has also graduated to the art of customization. They have mastered the capacity to design products that are not greatly personalized, like this Strider 10 Lengers, built specifically for their dealer in Northern Europe. The sunbathing area at the bow rests directly on the floor plate and is much lower than the tubes, which in turn creates more protection. The bow has a very aerodynamic shape, and the style is reminiscent of a Formula One race car from the 50s. And down here is a small cabin with a bed, larger than a double, and under here, the bathroom. The cockpit is a very comfortable space for your guests, thanks to the three-sided backrests and the cushions that have been well secured, maybe because she goes fast. You can lower the cabin and add a cushion to create an additional sunbathing area at the aft. The mobile kitchen can be set up, and while there is also a fridge, the bimini top is cleverly hidden so as not to get in the way, and is ready to be drawn up at any moment. Here on the dashboard they have installed a carbon panel. Granted, it's done purely out of habit, but gives a touch of finesse. Aha, I found an error. They've installed the clutch backwards, and that makes it jump away too quickly. But there is a solution to this. All you have to do is tie it low. Maybe they have a point. Before testing, let's take a look at the bilge. Here below are all the major facilities. They've mounted the outboard engine a bit higher up. Let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4 holes higher than the basic positioning. It's a very sporty layout. Okay, now let's go try it.
The
Strider 10 could be a tender for a mega yacht or your favourite rubber boat. Before making this statement, however, we must test her out ourselves. Okay, the trail tells me we're already planing. Our speed is 11 knots. The bow has risen slightly, but I think the trim is at 2 or 3 degrees, not more, and so quite favourable. We have 2 Mercury Verado engines of 300 horsepower each, equipped with 19-inch pitch propellers. I don't know if this is the particular coloration they have given this boat and these engines, but I feel a rumble. It's a great sound. Today will not be at all easy because there's good movement in the water, big waves, at least 70 centimetres, and a very, very strong wind that could affect the control of the boat if we're not careful.
Hanno realizzato un assetto molto sportivo, come abbiamo visto precedentemente, ma è interessante.
They've designed a very sporty layout, as we've seen before, but it's interesting to know that they built everything on site at SACS. Not just the coloration of the engines, but also their installation of all the commands, the controls, the instruments. And when all of this work is done on site, well, it's much better. You're more confident of maintaining a product of the highest quality, fully functioning, efficient and safe.
Sicuro? Beh, però...
Safe? Well, first we'll try it, then we'll see.
Se volete navigare tranquillamente con la vostra famigliola potete tenere...
If you want to navigate peacefully with your family, you can stay at this speed, 25 knots. The engines are at 3,000 revs a minute. You won't even realise the push of a boat of this size. With 600 horsepower, what power!
Adesso però voglio...
Now though, I would like to take us to a higher cruising speed. For example, right now we're at 4,000 revs a minute. It's strange, the engines have actually become even more quiet. Maybe because they're not working too hard.
A 4.000 giri minuto siamo alla velocità di perbacco.
At 4,000 revs a minute, we're at a speed of, wow, 32 knots. Now, however, the balance has slightly changed. The bow has lowered a bit. So with the trim, I'm going to lift her a little to ensure a more favourable angle of incidence.
Ecco qua. Siamo passati a...
Here we are. We've passed 4,100 revs a minute, 100 more revolutions, and the speed has gone up too. Wow, 3 whole knots. This means that the propellers have less recourse and are in a position that is better angled to get more drive, simply because the balance of the hull has changed and is more equally spread out on the water, moving less mass and travels better as it glides effortlessly. We can easily bring these Verado engines to the cruising speed of 4,800 revs a minute, and they're still at ease. But what about us? Now we'll see.
Sì, direi anche noi, nonostante come vedete le onde ci siano, il vento soffiteso.
Yes, I'd say that we as well are at ease, despite the waves and the strong winds. At 4,800 revs, the speed is 40 knots, 41, 41.5, almost 42.
Ma se questa è la velocità di crociera ed è così alta, qual è la velocità massima?
But if this is cruising speed, and it's already this high, what is the maximum speed? I'm sure you've been wondering. Well, let's go.
E su il trim, i motori a 6.000 giri minuto.
Up the trim, the engines are at 6,000 revs per minute, 50, 51 knots, and in these conditions?
Al timone ci sono 3 cose che mi hanno impressionato favorevolmente: la tenuta di rotta, la rapidità.
At the helm, there are 3 things that truly impress me. The steadiness of the route, the speed at which the route can effortlessly change, and a tight veer that tilts like a motorcycle but with formidable precision. And then the setup, the position of the engines that I feared were too high. But no, it was the right choice, 4 holes above the transom. In this way there is less drag and much more acceleration. Look at her go. I don't know if this is the right boat for you, but for me, it absolutely is. Until next time.